start understanding the difference between equity and equality, and understanding that it's not just providing the exact same thing to everybody. And really what that means is getting to know and understand the people that are part of your community. So they're your broader community, they're your parents, they're your students, they're your staff members, and finding out where they are and what they specifically need, because we all have different needs. It might be, for me, it might be a little free soda, or Karen, it might be a little SEL break. We don't really know. And so let's not try to paint everything with one brush.
People want to be able to engage the school system, where either it's higher ed or K through 12, in the way that they want to engage. And so you may have some people that physically want to come in. You may have some people that want to call on the phone. You may have some people that want to go online. And so having that omni-channel presence, where you're able to have a great call center experience, a great walk-in experience that's not going to take you 3 hours, but if you're on the phone, it takes you 10 minutes. They should both take you 10 minutes, right? And so I think when you really think about, equity and inclusion, it's always about how can you make whoever is engaging has a great experience. And I'll give you just a really quick example that I think everybody can relate to. When governments put vaccination appointments online, we did it quickly, right? And AWS is part of a lot of those governments who made that possible. But what we realized, or what governments realized as they actually started making the appointments, is who do you think was left behind? Senior citizens and those that were not tech savvy, right? Now, again, we made strides, government, right? Made strides. They put things online, which was light years ahead. But they left behind a population that needed that information, that needed those services, that couldn't access it. And so now we got to do rework. It's the same thing, I think, in education and using technology. And so making sure that everybody has a great experience and feels part of the process. And again, if you don't have the technology, that's a whole separate conversation that it's going to take us a whole nother hour, right? And you're right, we haven't even touched digital divide, which for me is beyond broadband, right? That's just step one, but education and training, things of that nature. But I think it starts with when you are, and this one, what I would like to leave everybody with, when you're starting to develop new technology and new programs, making sure, and this goes back to what Karen said, bring in everybody, bring in someone who doesn't have a computer, bring in someone who doesn't know technology, and making sure that everybody is going to have a great experience, because that is how people feel inclusive and you don't leave people behind. And I also bring up language barriers. It's something we don't think about, right? We just had a large influx in this country from, people coming from Afghanistan. Well, if you don't have that language on your website, you just left a whole population that will need services that can't get it. So again, when you're talking about looking at inclusive and equity, it runs the gamut. It's not just about, do they have access to broadband? Do they have a computer? That is, if you're only looking at that, you're probably missing a lot of opportunities that you have.
We have little over 116,000 students. We've got about 19,000 staff members, and by the time you put Sci-Fair together, we're huge. We're a huge area. I mean, we're outside of Houston ISD, Houston, Texas. Harris County is the county that we're in. We've probably got over 70 languages that just are spoken in our community alone. Probably over that, but I'm just kind of guessing. And one of the district's big initiatives is equity and equality for all. That's our goal. So when the district decided to go one-to-one, and we were trying to meet the needs for kids to engage and to get into learning, that's why we just didn't do a grade level. We said every child in our district, pre-kindergarten to 12th grade, I don't care where you are, who you are, we're going to make sure we're providing you the resource that you have. And then once you get that resource, whatever you need on that resource, we're going to give it to you. We offer probably every type of fine arts program you can think about, every type of athletic program you can think about, all that we need to do to provide a well-rounded system for our students, staff, and community. It's something we try our best not to say, oh, you're just here, we're going to just hit you. Our superintendent this year gave a speech about lagniappe. So I'm going to challenge you to look up, it's a Cajun word, and it's lagniappe. Like, here's my badge. In case you want to learn to spell it, let's see if I can show that on my camera. I don't know if I can do that, but it's called lagniappe. And he was talking about cleaning. And when he goes in a restaurant, he always looks in the corners. And he said, if you have a Rumba cleaner, it cleans, but it doesn't get to the corners. And those are the part where Lagniappe takes place. Lagniappe is doing that little bit extra. So our goal and our motto this year is, have you done your Lagniappe today? So those little thing extras are getting in the corners and cleaning in the corners and making sure that our kids that are in the corners, because he did some circles about all the different groups of kids that we work with and that we try to make sure we provide services. But then even in that square, you have those corners. So our philosophy in our district is clean the whole room, even to the corners. So get to all the students, get to the whole student, get to the whole staff, get to the whole community. Make sure you address even the corners of the whole community. So trying to do that in your technology department, that's our philosophy this year, is how do we do the whole, not just the circles, but how do we get to the corners? So that's part of the Staff Fairs practice. Are we perfect? I don't know anybody that's perfect, but that's our focus, is how do we even get to the very tiny corners to make sure that we have equity and equality for all, and that we're providing as much as we can to all the services around our area.